Donald Trump gave 2 weeks, 14 days to Iran, and then bombed them 2 days after. What happened? I thought the 2 weeks was to negotiate and open up the talks. Well, in June 19, 2025, President Donald Trump stood before reporters and said this.
I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks." That's a quote directly from the president for all of you today.
The world took a breath. After weeks of Israeli strike and Iran strike, the United States was on the blink. Donald Trump suggested a pause, a window, a 2 weeks for diplomats, 2 weeks for Iran to come to its senses. That was what it was promised. And the world was like, finally, it's not going to escalate. But behind the scene, something was brewing, something was going on. According to Ask You in Hindustan time, Turkey's President Erdogan had offered to mediate talks between the United States and Iran. Trump was reportedly opened to send Vice President J.D. Vance and Steve Witkoff. But then he considered to go by himself and do the talk himself. But the talk never happened. Why? Why did the talk never happen?
And has urged them to go underground as well. And they are literally underground as we speak, residing in order to avoid being killed.
Iran's supreme leader reportedly vanished. Yes, went into a secure undercover. No green light, no response. The diplomatic channel was dark, super dark. Just 48 hours after the 2 weeks deadline was announced, Trump addressed the nation with this.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan.
And there was so much emotion into this because a lot of people are for it, a lot of people are against it, and some people are just, they don't know what to do. Here's what Donald Trump announced the nation with.
Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
The United States had launched the B-2 stealth bombers from Missouri. The target was Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan, 3 of Iran's most fortified nuclear sites. That's right. Each bombers carried 2 tons of bunker busters. That's right. This thing has never been used before. And the goal was to obliterate Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity. Yeah, the goal was to basically destroy it, smash everything. So why did Trump strike just 2 days into a 14 days window? Was this a surprise? Was this to let Iran feel like they got 14 days to keep working and try to get the bomb? And then boom! Analysts are suggesting all these sort of stuff, but here's what we're going to report to you here on Newsroom, and we fast check everything so then you get the correct information here on this channel.
Let's be very clear. Iran has all that it needs to achieve a nuclear weapon. All they need is a decision from the supreme leader to do that, and it would take a couple of weeks to complete the production of that weapon.
The United States intelligence reportedly warned that Iran could produce a nuclear weapon within weeks. Yes, weeks. When the Iran diplomats disappeared, well, partly because they killed most of them, but when the leader just disappeared into bunkers, Trump seen the silence as a defiance. That these guys were going to get it. So the clock was ticking for Trump, and he needed to decide. He did.
There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago.
But the question is, was this all about Iran? Because here's Michael Flynn.
A victory by Israel establishes the perception, if not the reality, of U.S. global dominance and certainly Israeli dominance in that region.
Michael Flynn is Trump's former national security advisor and said the quiet part out loud that most people are not saying, but he's out there saying it. The goal was to weaken China's influence. By toppling Iran's regime, China gets weak because they don't have anybody in the Middle East that's really, really strong. Because they don't have, apart from Iran, if you think about it, they got all these other countries who are really weak. So destroying Iran also destroys China, because Iran is the key node for China's Belt and Road Initiative. Take Iran out of the equation, then China's westward ambitions hit the wall instantly. Nowhere to go. But here's a little bit about the strike. The strike killed a lot of Iranian scientists and military personnel. Iran has promised for retaliation, and their promise to close the Treaty of Hormuz, which 20% of the world oil travel through there, and now it's going to be a flashpoint. They're going to block it. Here's what Iran's foreign minister has said about this whole attack. This was an act of war. There will be a consequence for this. 2 weeks became 2 days. Diplomacy was basically nowhere to be found. Now the world waits to see what will Iran do next. And is China gonna get involved? Will there be some other person who will be introduced into this conflict? Because right now there's 3 people. There's Israel, US and Iran. Will there be another person? Will that be Russia? Will that be North Korea? Will that be China? Who will that be? But we're gonna have to wait and see what will happen next. But without further ado, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've liked this video and you've subscribed. And leave a comment, share this to your mom, your grandma, because I'm sure they would love to know what's going on in today's time. Yeah, so they can warn us why getting into war is not a good thing. But thank you so much. It's Baraka. You've been watching Newsroom.